Yourselves in because we're taking a deep dive into the wild world of Michigan auto insurance. You know those stacks of FAQs about this stuff that we get? We're going to break it all down for you. So by the time we're done with this deep dives, you'll be like Michigan auto insurance experts, ready to take on the world or at least the renewal notice. No more freaking out when that thing shows up in the mail. We're going to be informed and maybe even save some cash along the way, right? Absolutely. And we're going way beyond the basics here, like really getting into the why behind all the Michigan stuff. Exactly. And speaking of Michigan stuff, let's talk no fault. I hear that phrase thrown around all the time, but what does it actually mean for those of us actually driving around here?
So picture this. Fender bender, right? Instead of pointing fingers, everyone just takes a chill pill because Michigan's no-fault system swoops in. Your own insurance company handles your medical bills and lost wages no matter who messed up.
So it's like everyone backs up, chills out, and lets the insurance companies have a go at it.
Pretty much. It's all about keeping things moving, getting you better faster, and avoiding those legal battles that can be a huge pain.
Less drama, more recovery. I'm on board with that.
Right. And this whole no-fault thing is connected to something called personal injury protection. PIP, the real MVP of Michigan auto insurance.
PIP, huh? Sounds like this is where things get interesting and maybe a little pricey.
You got it. PIP is where Michigan throws a bit of a curveball, but a good one, hopefully. Unlike other places where you're usually stuck with a certain level of coverage, Michigan's like, hey, you choose your own adventure.
Oh, tell me more about this choose your own adventure insurance.
So you've got options all the way from unlimited coverage down to $50,000, and even a way to opt out if you've got a health plan that's got you covered.
Wow, so it's really tailored to what you need and how much risk you're cool with, right? But with great power comes great responsibility, right? Like choose the wrong PIP, and it could be rough if something happens.
You're getting it. This is where knowing your health insurance, your finances, and how much risk you can handle all matters. Do you want that unlimited coverage for peace of mind, even if it costs a bit more? Or are you good with a little less coverage to save some cash each month?
I'm starting to see why they call PIP the MVP.
Yeah.
This is a big decision.
It really is. And here's where Michigan throws another curveball: property protection insurance, or PPI. Remember how we were talking about no fault for medical stuff? Well, PPI takes that no-fault idea and applies it to property damage.
Hold up, property damage. We're not just talking about my car here, are we?
Nope, we're going bigger. PPI is all about damage your car does to other people's stuff, houses, fences, whatever, up to $1 million.
$1 million. That's a lot. Most other states I feel like are cool with way lower limits for that kind of stuff, so what's up with Michigan's supersized coverage?
That's a great question. It all goes back to how Michigan thinks about this stuff. Back when they were cooking up the no-fault system in the 70s, there was a lot of talk about how to make sure drivers and property owners were all good, especially since fault wasn't the big deal anymore.
So it's like they wanted to create a safety net for everyone, not just the people in the cars, but anyone who might get caught in the crossfire.
Exactly.
And that explains the million-dollar question. Literally, like, why so high for PPI?
Right, and some people say it's because Michigan's got this history with the auto industry, so they knew there was a chance for some serious property damage in a place where cars are everywhere.
It's like they knew that accidents happen, and in the Motor City, those accidents could get expensive. But that million-dollar safety net probably doesn't come cheap, does it?
You're right about that kind of peace of mind. It comes with a price tag, and everyone's kind of chipping in through their premiums. It's a trade-off, you know, higher potential costs, but then you've got that assurance that even if something big goes wrong, you're not totally out of luck.
So it's like we're all pitching in to build this big old safety net for property owners. Speaking of pitching in, what about this, what is it called? The Michigan Catastrophic Claims Association, the MCCA. That name always sounds kind of ominous to me, not gonna lie.
It does have a kind of, insurance thriller vibe to it, doesn't it? But the MCCA is actually a really important part of how this whole no-fault system works in Michigan.
Okay, so less scary movie, more like a guardian angel for our insurance then.
Yeah, I like that. Remember how we were talking about PIP covering those medical bills after an accident? Well, the MCCA, it steps in when those costs go through the roof, like really serious injuries that need a ton of care and attention.
So it's like the insurance safety net has its own little safety net tucked underneath it, just in case someone gets hit with those super intense medical bills.
That's a good way to put it. Every Michigan driver kicks in a little bit through their insurance premiums, and that money goes into this fund. Then, if something really bad happens, that fund is there to help cover those costs.
So we're all in this together, huh? We all contribute a little to make sure that everyone's got some backup, even in the worst-case scenario.
That's the heart of Michigan's no-fault system, for sure. But hey, let's move on from the stuff we have to have and talk about the fun part, the optional stuff, the things you can add to your policy to make it fit your life.
Okay, so if PIP and PPI are the main course, this is like the dessert menu for Michigan auto insurance.
I like that. And just like a dessert menu, it's all about finding what you like and what you can afford.
Okay, so walk me through some of these options. Collision and comprehensive coverage, that's got to be up there, right?
You know it. Collision, that's your friend when, well, you collide with something. Another car, a tree, even one of those Michigan potholes from hell. If you're at fault, it helps cover the damage to your car.
So say I miss a turn on a snowy day and have a little too much fun with a guardrail. Collision coverage would be there to help me out.
You got it. It protects your car, and it protects you from a giant repair bill on top of everything else.
Makes sense. Now, comprehensive, that's the everything but the kitchen sink coverage, right?
Not quite everything. Comprehensive is more for those life happens moments, things that aren't about collisions. Theft, vandalism, fire, stuff falling out of the sky.
Like a meteor. You never know here in Michigan.
Hey, you're not wrong. Comprehensive is there for when things get weird and your car takes the hit.
So if we get a hailstorm that decides to use my windshield for target practice, or, some squirrels decide my engine wiring looks tasty, comprehensive would have my back.
You got it. It's all about that peace of mind, knowing you're covered even when things are totally out of your hands.
This is making me realize that there's a lot more to car insurance than just checking the boxes and hoping for the best.
Yeah.
It's like you can really customize it to protect yourself and your car.
Exactly. And we're not even done building that fortress of protection yet. We got to talk about uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage.
Right. Because let's be real, not everyone out there is as on top of their insurance game as our listeners.
Sadly, you're right. Uninsured and underinsured coverage is there to protect you when the other driver in an accident either doesn't have insurance or doesn't have enough to cover the costs.
So it's like insurance for your insurance, just in case the other person's insurance isn't there for you.
You got it. It's about protecting yourself when someone else drops the ball.
Okay, this is starting to make a lot of sense. We're talking about potentially huge expenses here. Like, if you're in an accident that's not your fault, and the other driver doesn't have enough coverage, that could be really bad.
Exactly, you get it. Okay, so beyond those big ones, you've got some smaller things to think about too. Rental car coverage, towing, and labor coverage. Those are all about making your life easier if your car's out of commission.
Okay, break those down for me. What's the deal with those? Rental car coverage seems pretty straightforward. You get a certain amount per day to cover a rental while your car's in the shop, right?
That's it. It can be a lifesaver if you need your car every day for work or whatever.
And towing and labor? That's for when my car decides to take a surprise nap on the side of the road.
Exactly. It covers getting your car towed to a mechanic. And sometimes it even includes little things like jump starts or if you get a flat tire.
Okay, that one is going straight to the top of my list. I've definitely been there, stuck on the side of the road, wishing I had that coverage.
That's the thing about these optional coverages. You can pick and choose what works for your life, how much risk you're comfortable with, and how much you can spend.
This is making me realize that picking car insurance isn't just a one-size-fits-all thing. There's a lot to think about. But before we spiral, I remember this FAQ mentioned something about discounts. Tell me there's some good news in all of this.
Oh, there is. Discounts are like the hidden treasure of the auto insurance world.
Okay, I'm listening. What kind of treasures are we talking about here?
Well, a lot of insurance companies will give you a better deal if you bundle your auto insurance with other policies, like homeowners or renters insurance.
The classic bundle and save. I like it.
What else you got? Safe drivers often get lower premiums, of course. And some companies even have discounts for good students, or if you're a young driver who's taken driver's ed. Oh, and don't forget about those safety features on your car. Things like anti-theft systems or some of those fancy driver assistance features, those can get you a discount too.
So it's like they're saying, hey, the safer your car is, the less likely you are to cost us money, so here's a little
Right.
something something. I respect it. Any other hidden gems in this discount treasure chest?
Oh yeah, for sure. Some companies will give you a discount if you pay your whole premium upfront. Or if you go paperless with your billing. You might even get a discount for being a member of certain groups or organizations. It's kind of wild. It's always worth asking, You never know what you might find.
It's like a scavenger hunt for savings.
Hmm.
I'm into it. This is making me think about choosing car insurance totally differently. It's like
Oh.
there are all these different pieces, the required stuff, the extra stuff, the discounts, and you got to figure out how to put them all together to get what you need.
That's a great way to think about it. And the thing is, it's going to be a little different for everyone, right? It's all about what you need, what you're comfortable with, and what you can afford.
So for our listeners who might be feeling a little overwhelmed right now, what's the most important thing to remember? What's the one thing that will help them navigate this whole thing?
I'd say the biggest thing is to be proactive. Don't just blindly go with the first thing that comes along or assume that what you had before is still the best option. Life changes, your driving habits change, and your insurance should change with you.
So step one, take a good hard look at what you've got right now. Make sure it still makes sense for you in your life.
Exactly. Then, once you know what you're working with, do some shopping around. Get some quotes from different companies, see what's out there.
Because all insurance companies are not created equal, right?
Not even close. Prices can be totally different from one company to the next, even for the same coverage. So you gotta shop around, see who's offering the best deal for what you need.
It's like buying anything else, right? You don't just go with the first thing you see. You compare prices, you look for the best value.
Exactly. And that's where those discounts come in handy. Don't be afraid to ask about them. You might be surprised how much you can save.
This has been, honestly, a game changer. I feel like we went from wandering around in the dark to having a flashlight and a map for this whole Michigan auto insurance thing.
I love it. That's what we're here for. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to something as important as this. Understand the system, know your options, and ask questions. That's how you get the coverage you need and drive with peace of mind.
And on that note, we're going to wrap up our deep dive into the wild, wonderful, and surprisingly empowering world of Michigan auto insurance. We hope you enjoyed the ride, and more importantly, that you feel ready to tackle your own insurance decisions. Until next time, drive safe out there, Michigan.